Man, um, that's about my review. I'm not gonna lie. That was of the Indy Road Course races for the Xfinity. That was probably the dullest of them all. There were still some good factors to it, but honestly, I mean, I honestly thought that was not as good as the truck race even was last night. Personally, at least that's my opinion on it. But let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Welcome everybody to the 2023 Penzo 150 post race. Uh, I'm just gonna say, man, the Xfinity Series this year, to me, it's just missing something. Last year was definitely a special year in the Xfinity Series. You get Ty Gibbs and Noah Gragson out of there, and a couple of these newer drivers up. They're just getting their footing. I don't think it's bad long term. I just think this year definitely an adjustment period, but it is what it is. This race was, I believe, 62 laps long, which was an hour, 57 minutes, 29 seconds. There were 8 leaders that had 10 lead changes and 3, count them, 3 caution flags in the day. I will say this. I appreciate there being no stage yellows. I love that with the road courses, and it is something I look forward to. I think this time just the cautions fell in just the right places, that strategies couldn't play out. Rain also had a factor in it. I don't think it necessarily was having no stage caution was the problem. I think it was just, honestly, it's just you get dull races. And so far we're 2 for 2 this weekend. I know a lot of people have thought that I'd see some people thinking they're actually pretty good. I disagree this weekend with you, but hey, you know what? At least you can enjoy it. But let's get into the finishing order of this race. We'll go kind of moment by moment through it, and I'll get you the finishing order up here after we get through the naming them off. So Ty Gibbs gets the win. It's what they say, like his, I don't know how many starts he's had now since his last win. But it's odd because Ty Gibbs was so darn good last year. And so you see him sort of struggle for Ty Gibbs standards, and it's like, what's going on? Nothing's going on. It's just tough competition. But Gibbs gets the win by almost, and I say like, but barely under 8 seconds over Sam Mayer. Sam Mayer won at Road America. Good run for Sam. Starting to put some stuff together. You know who it reminds me of? And I'm not going to jump the gun and say that he's to the level of this guy once he started winning in Xfinity, but it reminds me of Noah Gragson. If you remember, was it 2020, I want to say? Might have been 2021. But Noah Gragson was somebody that people were like, man, does he really deserve to be at JRM? He's not winning much. He can't get anything put together. And then you have him win a race, and it just clicks for the next year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was. So there definitely seems to be something different, at least with the road courses with Mayer. He seems to have a lot of speed, seems to be putting it together more. And I like it because I think Sam is a good driver. I think he's a good personality, and I really, really like seeing him run up front. He's a good dude. AJ Allmendinger runs third. He was probably the favorite coming in here. Ends up with the third place run. Car got tight at the end, plus a little bit of damage on the nose, or on the fender at least. I don't know if it was the damage that was taken when he and Ty Gibbs got together battling for the lead, or if it happened in something else. But his car's handling just was not there. He finished 3 seconds behind Mayer, 10.8 behind Ty Gibbs for the win. Austin Hill comes in 4th, then 5th, Justin Allgaier, Cole Custer in 6th, 7th, Parker Kligerman. Great comeback for Kligerman. 8th was Creed, then Kaz Grala in 9th. Nursed his car home, managed to get 9th. Got into John Hunter Nemechek, which I have to admit was kind of funny. And then Brett Moffitt gets a top 10. 11th was Alex LeBay. Riley Herbst comes in 12th. John Hunter, we just talked about him, 13th position. 14th was Josh Berry, Sage Karam in 15th, 16th, Jeb Burton, 17th, Parker Retzlaff, 18th, Josh Balicki, 19th, Jeremy Clements, then 20th, Kyle Weatherman, Brandon Jones, 21st, had issues. Typical Brandon Jones day this year. Miguel Paludo in the 88 car comes home 22nd, right above 23rd place. Anthony Alfredo, Preston Pardus in 24th. Brennan Poole in that toxic waste car. I love the way that car looks. In 25th position, though. And 26th, Connor Mosak, last guy on the lead lap, finishing 73 seconds behind the winner. Daniel Hemrick comes home 27th, a lap down. Sammy Smith, 28th, a lap down. Ryan Ellis, 29th, again a lap down. The final car of the top 30 and final car a lap down was Kyle Sieg in 30th. 31st, 2 down was Blaine Perkins. From there, you had Ryan Sieg out of the race in 32nd. Then Josh Williams, final car on track at the end of the race, minus 5 laps. The rest of these guys were out of the event. There was Chandler Smith in 34th, Joe Graff Jr. 35th, Castro and Andre Castro in 36th, Ross Chastain 37th, and Brad Perez comes home 38th and last. I will say something really quick before we get into it as we put the post-race results at the top, as well as streaming stuff. I will say this. I saw on social media, and I saw some people in the chat say that on Hulu, they got basically stuck at lap 18 on a loop. Is that true? I'm curious about that because I saw a lot of people talking about it, but I have YouTube TV. I didn't really have a problem whatsoever with it. So I'm seeing some people say yes. Man, that sucks. I feel bad for you. I'm looking right now for the Xfinity Series point standings. Once they update, we'll read those off. But let's go through the finishing order of this race, and from there, we'll update that if it updates itself. But AJ Allmendinger was on the pole of this race, and again, at that point, I think a lot of us were thinking, oh, this is an AJ day. But on lap 3, Ty Gibbs would get past AJ for the lead for the first time of the day. At that point, you're like, well, maybe there's a little bit of competition here that might be done. And that only lasted till lap 8 when it started raining. Caution came out for lightning, and then, of course, the red would come out. And we had, I believe, almost an hour-long red flag for lightning. Again, just sucks, but it put them into the crunch zone, I would say. Like, there was definitely a very much crunch time aspects to this race because there was only a little under 2 hours until sunset. The race finished pretty much at sunset. If I'm not mistaken, right now in Indianapolis, it's almost dark, if not completely dark at this point. They went off about 5 minutes after the race ended, so it's hard to tell. But man, oh wow, they I just saw an update from Joe Gibbs Racing on Twitter here. They have the entire left rear tire on the track, like, because it's burnt down. They have to change tires so they can get the car rolled off. I'll tell you this, Ty Gibbs had a hell of a burnout. But let's get past the red flag here. We have a restart, single file restart on lap 11 with wet tires being put on a lot of the cars. And through the run, you have Ty Gibbs up front with the leaders on rain tires. And in the back, you got guys like AJ Allmendinger who are on slicks trying to play long game here, gain some track position. Ultimately, it worked out for AJ. He got the advantage when it came to that. And in that aspect, I thought the start of this race strategy-wise was really fun to watch because you knew that Ty Gibbs was a little bit better than AJ. And you knew throughout the day he was going to start making his way up towards the front. He was going to start coming after the number 10 car. But you didn't know if maybe AJ had built up enough of a lead. Maybe there wouldn't be cautions, too. We've seen it before where there's almost completely cautionless or not very many cautions, at least, in one of these races. So you didn't know for sure. But the leaders would pit for slicks right before the end of the stage, meaning AJ Allmendinger would win stage 1 over second place Sam Mayer, then Hemrick in third, fourth was Kligerman, fifth Allgaier, sixth Ty Gibbs, Parker Retzlaff in seventh in stage 1, then Chandler Smith eighth, Josh Berry ninth, and Cole Custer 10th in the first stage. From there, You have Kligerman having a flat, loses a lap, and he spent most of the race a lap down. That's why I say he had a really great comeback as the race went. But as stage 2 got rolling, you had the caution for Brad Perez being stuck out there on track. Looked like the brakes just pretty much failed on him. And that would lead to a restart on lap 31 with Sam Mayer and Cole Custer up front. And AJ would end up passing Sam. But as AJ's charging through, so too was Ty Gibbs charging through the pack. He actually got into Cole Custer. I was waiting for Custer to try and get back at him, but he ended up not doing it. It seemed like Custer was pretty pissed about it, which I don't blame him. I'd be too. But there was a lot of positions being swapped at this point. And I think the racing here was pretty good. The first half of the race was not, in my opinion, the boring. I think it just sort of started well and then just kind of petered off, halfway through. But you got lap 36, the 7 and the 00 get together. Cole Custer goes spinning. Again, he ends up having a comeback after that. Ty Gibbs, 2 laps later, would pass Sam Mayer for second. He's now 2 seconds behind AJ Allmendinger. This is how they would finish with Allmendinger first in stage 2 and Gibbs in second. Third was Mayer, then Sheldon Creed in fourth. Fifth was Riley Herbst. Austin Hill in 6th. 7th was Chandler Smith and John Hunter Nemechek 8th. 9th was Hemrick and Jeremy Clements, top 10. Ran top 10 for most of the day. If I'm not mistaken, did not get the finish that really showed it with 19th. But he had top 10 speed throughout the race. Just didn't get the finish. Honestly, he probably deserved it. Now, the final stage here. John Hunter Nemechek's on pit road. Looks like the tire got away. Not really. He ends up speeding. Has to start charging back again. With 19 to go, though, and this is about a lap after the leaders pit, a caution comes out. And this is important because Ty Gibbs, through pit road, had got ahead of AJ Allmendinger, and at this point, Ty Gibbs was now in control of the race. AJ could have played defense and maybe held him off a little bit, or had a better way to, get into one, get the jump on the restart. But because of Gibbs getting off, well, that's the end result. Gibbs had control of this race, and he really never relinquished it. From there, with Reed stopping while the pits were closed, he would get a penalty. He'd have to start making his way up. And with 16 to go, you have the restart. Restart is very clean for the most part, at least up front. You have Gibbs getting ahead. Brandon Jones does his weekly spin in turn 1, and you have some cars in the grass. But other than that, it was, and I will say this for all the starts, restarts, everything for this race, was so much better than what we saw in the Cup Series last year. And I think we're going to see this continue tomorrow. There might be some idiot who tries to jump down to the bottom and try and pass a bunch of people for no reason. Thinking that they can go from 16th to 1st. But I don't think it's going to happen as much. I think the new restart zone policy is pretty good. I don't even think you need to go single file tomorrow at any point. I don't think it's going to get to that. I think having the restart zone moved so they have more of a rolling start and can get some space and separation is a much better move. And you saw it today. Tyler, thank you for the $10 super chat, saying, newer NASCAR fan here who thinks the oval needs to come back, but starting to appreciate the road course more. IndyCar's race had me on the edge of my seat. Just sad Ray Hall came up short. IndyCar race was awesome. I ended up not seeing it live, but I have a DVR on my YouTube TV app, so I'm able to watch it after the fact. So I'll be honest, I slept till like 1 in the afternoon today because I had the option to. Granted, I was working last night, but still is a good option. Napa Racing Fan 927's in the chat saying, is this the final NASCAR IndyCar doubleheader? We will talk about that after we get through the race itself. And the super chat here from Daniel. Thank you for the 5, who says, I was sitting by turn 1, disappointed in the lack of chaos. You might get a better chance tomorrow. I don't think there's going to be as much chaos. And honestly, I think even if it's not as fun of a race to watch for that reason, I think it at least legitimizes the race a little bit more. So there is that. But let's get to the last little bit of this race. It really is self-explanatory for the most part. With 8 to go, you have Chandler Smith, who has a stop and go. Perkins has a flat tire. You have some people spinning. And with 5 to go, John Hunter Nemechek is spun when Kaz Grala overshoots turn 1, tries to rejoin the course, gets into the 20 car, spins him around, loses some spots in the process. But this would mean that the 20 would finish 13th instead of probably a deserved top 10 finish on the day. And from there, you basically just had, honestly, like I said, a pretty dull finish to this race. There was not much flopping for position, much past about 15th position. To me, there was not the ability for a lot of strategies to play out well. And I think that a lot of these guys were probably a little timid, knowing that there was the threat of ending early. Credit to them. They had a clean race, and I did enjoy that part. But I don't know, man. I think we've had 3, as of tomorrow, we will have had 3 years on the Indy Road Course. And we'll get right into this topic, but to me, I think we have the data now to say that between the dumb chaoticness of the first 2 years and so far today what we saw, I think that this experiment was worth trying, but I think that ultimately it just didn't end up being as fruitful as a lot of people thought. I like that NASCAR tried it. We can kind of get into that I mean, I know we can get into a lot of it. I know a lot of you guys are disagreeing with me, and fine, but you know, I liked aspects of the race, but I mean, just because aspects of the race were good does not mean the race was good. I'm fine with no crazy chaoticness. It was pretty clear what was going to happen for the most part, and what, you know, it's pretty clear is what ended up happening. I do think tomorrow will be better. I don't know if it'll be great by any means, but so far this half of the season for the Cup Series has been a lot of fun, and I don't see any reason why it would stop tomorrow. You got a lot of wild cards jumping in. You got a lot of different drivers who are desperate. I think you're going to see a calm start. I think you're going to see an inverse of what this race was. You're going to see a calm start probably. You know, maybe some people getting spun in the first lap or two, but for the most part, a calm start, and it'll probably ramp up through the day. As for this doubleheader with IndyCar and NASCAR, I will never say 100% until announcements come out, but I am pretty much sure, like by any means, that this is it. This is the last Indy doubleheader we're going to see with IndyCar and NASCAR. The rumors I've seen is that, you know, and I think a lot of people have seen on the NASCAR side is the oval coming back next year, bringing back a crown jewel in the Brickyard 400. And I don't know if the Xfinity will be on that or if they'll be on the road course again. I would assume they'll probably be both on the oval. But at that point, I will never see IndyCar going to 2 races on the oval. I think it diminishes that would diminish the specialness and the greatness of the Indy 500. So I don't think IndyCar comes back because you're not going to be switching in and out during the day. The rumor I've heard about the most, and it's popped around on social media too, so I feel comfortable saying it, is that the IndyCar race here, the Indy Road Course, gets taken off for like Milwaukee Mile or some race like that. That's at least where I think it'll go. But you know, we'll see. That's at least what I think. I think that it was a fun thought experiment, but it ended up just not being, I think, what a lot of people hoped it'd be. It's what it is. It's worth a shot. I think it was still the right decision to go to this in 21, 22, 23 to try it, because we're going to be very short-sighted here with our memories, but the Brickyard 400 sucked the last couple years. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, I know there were people defending it. It sucked, and it was pretty clear that the ratings for it were going down, attendance was going down, interest from fans was. The only ones who the whole time have been steadfast on this in unison have been the drivers. And you know what? I think that trying this to try and spice it up a bit was worth a shot and was the correct decision. Now it's just we have the data to prove it wasn't the correct decision now. The issue is, and David Land put this in his video, I know it's been the talk of the internet the last couple of days, is you got to find a way to make the Brickyard special. You can't just go there and do the exact same thing you did that made this race fail the first time, because if you do, it's going to end up failing again. So that, I think, is what people should be debating on. At this point, I think the road course versus oval debate is over. The real debate should be, how do you make this Brickyard 400 feel and look like a crown jewel event again? That's where I think the mindset should be at this point, because we pretty much know it's coming back. You wouldn't do 100 tests on the oval if you weren't bringing it back. The only reason I think they're doing so many tests is because they don't want to have it come back and be a 2008 all over again. So that's the real talking point that we should have with this one. Is what it is, man. I mean, I said, I'm looking in the chat. Some people are saying that it should help. Some say moving the race to the 4th of July didn't help its image. It helped the amount of people that watched it. It was one of the most watched races of the last 5 years. Some saying, now make it special. I see another saying, if they move the IndyCar NASCAR week, that's a massive L move. No, it's not. No, I disagree fully with that. IndyCar fans, for the most part, really don't care about the doubleheader side of it. They don't like playing second fiddle at Indianapolis to NASCAR. The fan attendance is, at least from people I know that have been in Indy, not people that have agendas either side, has been pretty even with what it would have been anyways. The TV audience has been lower than the last Brickyard 400. So on all accounts, you tried something, it didn't work. Try something different. For IndyCar, take this race off and go to an oval. For NASCAR, try to make the oval race better the second go round. I mean, it's going to be the 30-year anniversary of the first Brickyard 400. You got to make it matter. I'm getting off my soapbox on that. I'm just that's where my head's at with it. There's a lot of moving pieces with it. I went to the first Indy Road Course doubleheader weekend. It was fun, but after that first year, the allure of it wore off. David Bell, thank you for being a member for 5 months. Chaos will happen tomorrow. Almost playoff time. Ha. Yeah, that's going to be a big factor. I think there's going to be a lot of people making a lot of bonsai moves that probably would not work and will not work. Rowdy8_diecast for 2. I will go to Indy if the Brickyard 400 returns. I'll go just to try it. I like I said, I enjoyed going there the first time, but I know a lot of people who are just Indianapolis fans said that it was so fun seeing the stock cars, and how fast they were. So I'll give it a shot. So if 2024 that happens, maybe I can get all 4 of the podcast guys to go. We'll have long enough to plan it out. Depends on when it is. And kind of like Eric said on Wednesday night, use the Olympics to hype it up like the Brickyard's coming back to a nationwide audience. I mean, the Olympics isn't what it used to be with people watching anymore. Not really as many people care about the Olympics, but still a ton do that wouldn't normally watch NASCAR. So definitely push that out there. Irvin Alvarado, NWP, and David Land. We got to, we'll get David Land on at some point again. I would love to get, I'd love to get David on if like Brickyard 400 week comes back. I think he'd be down with that. Let's see. Sheerank 244. Thank you for the 9-month membership. For trucks, Lane Riggs should be full-time next year. I think Lane Riggs should get a shot because every time he's out there, he shows out. And I think that Lane Riggs has been a great talent so far. He just needs, whether it's sponsorship or chance or whatever it is, he just needs something. Because I would love to see him in a full-time truck series ride and see what he can do. So I'm looking on Twitter right now, and it looks like Parker Kligerman remains the first driver outside of the Xfinity Series playoffs, 17 points behind Sheldon Creed. But there's no real update on the Xfinity playoff standings right now. See, this is the problem of going right to your streaming service that's losing a ton of money right after the race instead of just showing the information that we want to see. I know a lot of people are like, oh, there's going to be Peacock race. I'm like, oh, no. Peacock lost like $670 million because of how it's run recently. I don't really think it's going to. I wouldn't be surprised if another service comes in and kind of they merge together and you don't have Peacock in the way it is now at this point. That's at least my honest to God assessment of the situation. But I'm looking and I'm surprised there's not many people that are giving updates about it. I'm seeing results, but I'm not seeing anything about the actual standings. I'm looking, I swear. Everyone's just putting the results out, but where the hell are the standings at? If anyone knows where they are, let me know, and I will immediately go and find them. If NASCAR.com's updated it, I can read them off to you. Let's see. I'm going to look it up and see if we can get that, because I want to get that to y'all before we head on out. Yeah, man, it is so damn hard to find it. Jimmy, thank you for the 5. Is the weather better for tomorrow? Because so far for this year, we have had 18 of 26 race weekends been affected by weather. I believe it will be. I'm looking forward at the weather, at least on my phone. And the weather forecast so far this weekend has been pretty good for it. Let's see. Indianapolis. It's looking like it'll be cloudy, but I don't see much of a chance of rain tomorrow. I think it's like 20% at the moment. Could obviously change, but yeah. Keenan, thank you for the 5. What are your ideas of making the Brickyard memorable if NASCAR decides to bring it back to the oval? See, I think that's the big question. I think for one, you have to have a draw for people who are new to racing. You see the Indy 500, they have like that party in the infield. Maybe have something like that. I liked a lot of the ideas David had. It's going to be hard because of the charter system, so you can't exactly have a huge bump day. But if I think that there needs to be, whether it's a monetary allure to it or sponsorship or something, NASCAR needs to lure more to the field. So have a full 40, or maybe even make it, if you want, have that be the one race, give incentives to smaller teams to show up, make that the 143 car race of the year, maybe. I think, though, looking at David's video and the stuff he brought up, I think trying to emulate some of the stuff with the Indy 500 might be good. But other than that, I think it's just a lot of it's making the racing good, or at least better. Not having a bunch of tire issues, maybe getting people out in the community more driver-wise and more stuff like that to get people in. But that's about the best you can do. The drivers themselves, I think, will do anything they can to make it work because they have been pushing to bring it back so much. The drivers have been Team Brickyard 400 since the first mention of the road course being brought up to the Cup Series. So, yeah. Let's see. Oh, my God. Is this... Where'd it go? I saw someone said they lost their keys. Damn. That sucks. If you're at the track, you can probably go to one of the workers and they'll have people go out and help look for them and maybe put out an announcement. Jimmy, thank you for the 5. Also, did you watch the Vikings preseason game from Thursday night? I did. And I was pleased with what I saw. I don't take stock in any of the scores. I like to watch individual players. And some of the individual players that I was most looking forward to seeing, like Jordan Addison, Ivan Pace, and Ty Chandler, all impressed me, and I liked what I saw. Never take stock in the score of a preseason. Only what individual players do or don't do. Let's see. Yeah, Ty Gibbs nearly ran into the field during the cool-down lap. Yeah, this cool-down lap was a burnout lap for the most part. Pretty fun burnout, I would say. Yeah, Lucas, if you're at the track, definitely talk to workers there, and they have protocols to find people's keys, and usually they're pretty good at finding them quick. If you just retrace your steps too, they can probably find out. They'll have lost and found stuff there, and this goes for anyone. If you lose something at a racetrack, it's pretty easy to find it, especially if it's something that really isn't appealing for someone to take outside of that. Like if you use your keys, people are going to take it to lost and found. You lose like a hat or something, they'll take it there too. So I hope you find it, and I'm pretty sure you will, and if not, they'll probably be pretty well. The people that work at Indianapolis are great. They're great in general. ESPN has the updated points. Awesome. Thank you. It amazes me that ESPN is so crap at covering racing, but they managed to get the standings for Xfinity. I clicked on the NASCAR standings, and it sent me to the IndyCar standings. What the hell? That's so dumb. All right, hold on. All right, maybe now we can get there. It keeps sending me to the IndyCar standings. What the hell is wrong with your website? Come on, ESPN, you suck. Oh, man. All right. The results, standings. Okay. Finally, they kept sending me there. Okay, so looking at the cutoff line right now. I've been doing mental math all day with some stuff I've been working on, so I'm not going to BS around with this. Daniel Hemrick right now. These are the guys that are within the cut line at the moment. Daniel Hemrick is, I believe, 50 points above Parker Kligerman inside the playoffs as we run now. As for Riley Herbst in 11th, he is, let's see, he is 34 in, and then 17 in for Sheldon Creed, and 17 out for Parker Kligerman. From there, Brandon Jones is 65 back. He's over a full race back in points. Brandon Jones this year, man, he might be one of the most disappointing JRM drivers I've ever seen. I know he was there in a lot of ways he was there for the Menards money, but it is just so damn sad to watch. I'm trying to think of the right words other than that, but you saw last year he competed for wins. He's won races before. I've been at races he's won before. I know he has more talent than just a pay driver, but he's just been god awful. It sucks, man. It just absolutely sucks to see. And it looks like Lucas is all good. All right, awesome stuff. Man, I got to give like a radio call of some at the track drama, but awesome stuff. But yeah, man, it has been honestly shocking how bad he has been this year. And I agree with yours truly, Chris. Part of the problem is JRM not being as good, but man, Sam Mayer, Justin Allgaier, and Josh Berry have been overcoming that. Maybe not, like I wasn't even expecting Brandon Jones to win, but I was expecting better than this. I was expecting him to outrun Parker Kligerman. I was expecting him to outrun Riley Herbst, even Daniel Hemrick, or at least run with Daniel Hemrick. But, I mean, his statistics this year, too, are awful. He has 0 wins, 0 poles, 2 top 5s, 6 top 10s. Just yikes, man. I still think even a poor JRM, and I agree with Isaiah Halt here, am I saying your name right? I'm sorry, I'm getting new contacts soon. So if I pronounce names right, I apologize, but I think a bare minimum should be qualify for the playoffs if you're running for JRM. That should be the bare minimum. But you know that he's all, he's not there. He's not. I don't know any other way really to say it. I don't have any profound insight into how to fix it or what they could do differently. It's just poor performance. I mean, like I said, you're seeing Sam Mayer be much more competitive now. I think Sam Mayer deserves another year or so in that car because he's starting to put up the speed and numbers, and you're seeing him improve. Justin Allgaier has improved. He has the experience to do so. Josh Berry is improving in speed. Probably should have won a couple races at this point. What difference from February to now has Brandon Jones done? None that I've seen. None whatsoever. That's just me. I'm seeing JRM should tell Brandon Jones to keep your money at Menards. Keep your money at Menards. I will say this. Somebody who just moved down to Tennessee in the last year plus ago from the Midwest, it is weird not hearing any Menards commercials. Yeah, there we go. Rowdy8_diecast. Finished third at Michigan. Hang the banner. Yep. I should get a hang the banner graphic at this point. I believe that's kind of become one of my catchphrases. Hang the banner. He finished third. He ran well when the rest of his team did. Nice job. Napa Racing Fan 927 says, I'd at least like to see Elliott run good tomorrow or have a good run tomorrow. Looking pretty good at this point. Elliott at a road course, again, even if he's not the best, he's still a great road course racer. So I think that he will definitely be a top 10 level guy, no problem. Probably top 5. Blue Jimmy says, make a hang the banner emote for channel members. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I can. I'll look into that. I'll write that down right now. Hang the banner emote. But yeah, I think that about covers it for today. We will be back live tomorrow. We will be live on Wednesday for the NWP. Going to be a ton of fun on this channel. Friday is the NWP 400 duels qualifying for the race on Tuesday, 22nd. Going to be a lot of fun. Jimmy, thank you for the 5. Ending out here. Did you hear about Kevin Harvick racing with broken ribs this summer? That's damn. Really? I didn't know that. I thought it was a broken back from carrying Stewart-Haas Racing. I can look. I'll look really quick. I didn't know that was a thing. Wow. Yeah. Damn. Kevin Harvick deserved a better team for his retirement season. Fell down the stairs. Well, yeah, it was the old man falling down the stairs. Well, yeah, man. I mean, so he's been racing with. He's been racing with broken ribs. His damn back has to be at the least thrown out for carrying Stewart-Haas Racing. Man, I would love to see him just have a walk-off championship this year. I know it probably won't happen. But man, wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be freaking awesome? Appreciate him while he's still here, guys. Appreciate him while he is still here because Kevin Harvick is a special driver. And with that, I think we're going to leave on a positive note. I was wondering if we were going to. I didn't want to be all negative the entire time, but I think on that, we're going to leave on a positive note. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back after the Cup race tomorrow. Chaos or dullness, doesn't matter what it is. We're going to talk all about it. I can't wait to see you there. And till then, have a good one. Have a good night. Later.